Thanks so much for joining us. I know this is a topic you've covered for a long time and looked into. My first question is a hypothetical one. How easy would it be for China to seize Taiwan militarily if they so desired?
I think it's a very good question because the headlines, as we know, come against talk about invading Taiwan. This is a very rocky, mountainous island, 24 million people, which is 100 miles from the mainland. So they might be able to take a beachhead. They might be able to take the place, but they wouldn't be able to run it because, as well as those civilian training exercises that we saw, there are huge exercises going on both on defending the beaches when they come in and also on running an insurgency up in the mountains once the Chinese take control. When I was there reporting, it once said if they come, the type of insurgency we will give will make Iraq and Afghanistan look like a picnic.
That's fascinating. And I guess it leads to the next question, which is where is public opinion in Taiwan on this topic? Has it shifted over the years at all, or is it still pretty resolute to wanting to reject the Chinese should anything like this materialize?
Well, I think it's fascinating because it's a democracy. It's very open and it's paced out in elections. So the pro-Chinese party, the KMT, the old nationalists, they have been losing ground lately because they were coming too close to China. Now we have in a fairly sort of strident, independence-minded leader of the Democratic Progressive Party, and there's a sense that he might be going too far, both with the United States and with the people itself, because in the past 24 hours or so, he has been banned from visiting New York and Dallas on a private visit whilst he was going to visit three of the few countries that recognize Taiwan in Latin America. Also, he's been trying to push out the elected parliamentarians in the legislature that support the nationalists or the pro-Chinese party. There's been huge pushback against that. So in a strange way, very interesting way, China is also playing at Taiwan's democracy there. And it knows, or it tries to know how to infiltrate that, how to influence it. For example, a Chinese tour group will not be sent to a place in Taiwan that supports the Democratic Progressive Party because they are seen to be anti-China. This has been going on for years, if not decades.
And what's the latest sort of view in China? Do they really want to poke the bear in the US and do something militarily here or not?
No, I mean, Xi Jinping, who's been in power now since 2012, he had a few years back something called the Wolf Warrior policy, and that put Taiwan up as a flashpoint, and he was pushing out and picking fights with the West. That's changed. Right this week, Donald Trump's people are trying to negotiate different various things with China, and there's thinking of a meeting between the two of them. That is the reason that the Taiwanese president has been told not to land on a private visit in the United States. Taiwan's actually really interesting because it's not recognized internationally, yet it has created this democracy. It's created a huge economy, and unlike, say, in Europe and the Middle East, it's got an autocratic, not very nice neighbor. And instead of sending suicide bombs or complaining, it's just set up and started trading with it. So that now it's got, I think, 36% of its trade is with China. And if they went to war, well, we wouldn't be able to do this because China and Taiwan together control computer chips, control Wi-Fi routers and all that sort of thing. So there'd be sort of complete collapse of the global system. And I'll just add to this that if China did invade Taiwan, as it's seen, its economy, which is not in a good state at the moment, would collapse even further. The sanctions, if they're anything like that the West put on Ukraine, would cripple the markets that it sold to. That would put thousands, millions, tens of millions out of work. And the Chinese Communist Party, which has been in power since 1949, would be threatened. So sitting in Beijing, you would look at this and say, no, let's not do it now.
That's really interesting. I mean, because I was going to ask, if not military means, are there other means that China could take? Whether we hear that phrase blockade, whether that's economic or worse, stopping food and things getting in. I mean, presumably that would be quite an easy step for them to take relative to a full military invasion. But the question then comes down to the sort of economic pain threshold you're willing to take yourself.
Yeah, I think that's right. And your very good report sort of put that over. I mean, Taiwan's oil mostly comes from the Middle East. China can blockade that. It can blockade the trade. It can stop all those sorts of things. They call it, when I was researching some of this in Beijing, one general told me that we'll take Taiwan like we took Beijing. We'll surround it. We can push the blockade up. We'll coax or bribe the generals and political leaders to come over. And at some stage, we'll just walk in without a shot being fired. There's a phrase in Chinese in that calls taking it by non-peaceful means, which means that they're prepared to wait it out. And eventually they think that it will just merge. And there will be an election, a re-election in Taiwan, and a pro-China president might or might not be elected, and that would take the heat off things for a few years.
Really interesting discussion, Humphrey. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.